Hello, Via. It's good to have you back this year. Happy New Year. I'm sure you had a wonderful Christmas and a good 2020 in progress. This week we want to mirror in on Lassa fever. You can assure with me, Lassa fever is in Nigeria, is for real. And I have with me today Dr. Josiah. He's our friend on this program. He's always readily available to assist us with information. So if you're just tuning in, just stay glued to your TV with your cup of coffee and let's ride. Dr. Josiah is a consultant pediatrician in the River State Teaching Hospital. Doctor, you are welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you here. Now, doctor, so far from the recent research I did, we have about 58 cases, suspected cases, right here in River State now. Today, we want to do more of the talking because we want to know the type of rats, let's know what causes them. We'll talk about the preventions, how people can take preparing measures against this problem and all that. So let's how we can enlighten the public on what to do and what not to do.
All right, thank you very much. Lassa fever is a viral disease that affects so many people. It's endemic, that it is always there in certain countries in sub-African region, all those Guinea, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, rats causing Lassa fever is usually present at all times. But there are seasons when it becomes very high.
Okay.
Like this season, this dry season, during the farming
season. Okay.
Yes, that's how it. That's when it is highest, because of bush burning.
Oh.
I've been talking about bush burning. I mean the farming activity generally. When people go to burn the bushes because they want to farm, the rats that hitherto lived in the bush, they run from the bush into the community.
Okay.
That's how they run into the community and find a place of refuge to stay inside the community. And that's how they they carry the virus that causes Lassa fever. So the Lassa virus actually was discovered in Nigeria, here in Nigeria, and it was discovered in a community in Borno State, up north there. And that was in 1967 when it was discovered that two nurses, missionary nurses, who were rendering services there, got this illness and died of it. And samples were taken from them and sent to Yale, where it was researched, and the causative organism was found to be this Lassa virus. And the name of the community where these nurses were operating became Lassa. The name of the virus, since the name of that community is Lassa. So that's how we have the name Lassa fever, or the Lassa virus.
And it seems as it's always coming from that side first.
And no, this is where it is endemic. It is around Nigeria. But now it is mostly in Edo State. And that is why the research institution to identify the virus, to diagnose the virus, is also in the Irwa Specialist Hospital in Edo State.
Okay, now, but we know rats. Is there a particular kind of rat or all types of rats?
Yeah, there's a particular type of rat that causes or that transmits the virus.
Okay.
You know, it's not every type of rat. But you don't need to wait to know the type of rat, whether the rat in your house is that type or not. The name of the rat is called the multi-mammet rat, or what scientific name they call is Mastomys nathalensis. It has big breasts. It has multiple breasts.
Okay.
And then it's small. It's not so big like those big rats that we see at the water sites.
Okay.
It's not those big ones. But these rats are small. They have a pointed mouth, and then they carry the virus. And these viruses are secreted in the urine, the feces, body fluid, even saliva. So if that rat bites someone, it can transmit the infection to that person. Okay. If that rat urinates on foodstuff, and you go, especially those foodstuff that doesn't undergo heat processing.
Yes.
So if like you put the rat urinate into gari,
Gary.
and you carry the gari and put inside cold water,
Okay,
and
like
you drink the
drink,
gari, you can carry the virus. But if that foodstuff is processed through heat, very high temperature, it will kill the virus. And like if you boil water and use it to make gari out of it, you may not have
it's almost
the
sharing the
infection.
same this thing with Ebola.
With Ebola, yes.
Same process.
Yes, so same processing. So that is how it is. So if the rat plays around surfaces and you urinate, and then you go and touch those surfaces, you can also transmit it. That is why it is most important that you keep your environment free from any kind of rat. You don't need to catch the rat and take it to the lab for them to identify which type of rat it is. Run away from every type of rat.
But is there a possible means to entirely prevent rats? Because some people use a lot of like sorry to cut you now. If you go on the road, these people who sell on the road, who hawk on the road, this one kills rat, this one kills that one. Those things don't work. You oftentimes will go to market, people say, I bet this one need to work again, rat, they don't get sense. You need to work again, people need to buy them again, you are looking for another one. So if those things that people used to buy before, they don't know that work, that means the rats have become sensitive, or sensible, or they now have a lot of sense to dodge the things. People say Indoseed. I don't know how to, because you are a doctor. Now, is it I don't know. Can we actually use Indoseed in our houses to kill rats that is effective?
Now, rats have been found to lack certain enzymes that can work on Indoseed. And then so when they take a food stuff that has been laced with Indoseed, they tend to die. That's true. But that's not to say that Indoseed is now a rodenticide, something that used to kill rats. Rather,
I was in the market yesterday. Let me cut you. I was in the market yesterday. I tried to do some sampling for this program, and I was talking with the market women. And I said, Madam, this is your shop. Do you have rats? She said, Yes, we have rats. I said, Why don't you buy rat killer now? She said, The day they walk, we don't try everything. Another person say, Yeah, they use Indoseed, though, they kill rat and all that. So
whatever that can keep your environment clean, that can keep rats from your environment, so long as it does not destroy the ecosystem, please use. Whatsoever that if your Indoseed will kill the rat and keep rat from your environment, if the other poison that they use, the rodenticide, do not kill rat and Indoseed will use, by all means use, so long as it do not destroy the environment where you live. That's what the rule behind it.
okay.
There are gums. If I like when all this happen, I just had to go and buy rat gums. Rat gums and place them in multiple places so that in case any rat runs, they will be dodging it initially, but just keep it in strategic locations. Somehow once rat stops climbs on top of that gum, it gets stuck. It can't move. So you can now kill the rat naturally. It's not whether when you put those things in food stuff, rat may perceive the smell and dodge eating that thing. So it is very possible. One or two rats may die. So use every means that you can to kill the rat. It's not like we give up on killing rats or trying to eliminate rats. But the most important thing is public health cleanliness. You should not create an environment for rats to dwell in. So dispose of your refuse as soon as you collect them, and keep refuse in covered containers. There are these giant containers that should be refuse dumps, so that as soon every family should have that. As you bring your waste, you put inside and cover it. Once you cover your waste, rats will not have opportunity of coming into those places, because rat goes to look for food in those places. So it is those kind of dirty environments that encourage the breeding of rats. If you just carry your refuse, go and drop, even if it's in polythene bag, you tie it and go and drop somewhere on the ground. Rats will come and will tear it off and go inside it to look for food to eat. And you are encouraging rats. But if you keep this one that is covered all the time, rats will not have the chance to enter into it, and they'll be encouraged. Once they are discouraged that there is no food here to eat, rats leaves the environment. If you don't have leftover food scattered around your house,
Okay.
rat will not be there. That is why rats, if you want to kill rats, for example, where you keep your dustbin in your house is where you should keep your rat gum, because it will go to that place.
Okay.
It will usually want to go and look for food in that place, and then it will be gummed. If you keep the rat gum everywhere around your dustbin, somehow, somehow, the rat, one of them will catch any of those rats.
Okay. So now, as regards to what are the symptoms? What are the
Okay.
symptoms that one should look out for, or when you see, you know that this person is already having or prone to?
Okay. Before I go into that, I will just want to correct what you said earlier on about that there are, as at now, that there are 58 cases of suspected Lassa fever. That's not entirely correct. We are saying that there are some cases that presented at the River State University Teaching Hospital or referred from private hospital that looked like Lassa cases, and that they've collected the samples from those patients and have sent to the reference lab in Edo State to confirm whether they are Lassa cases or not.
Okay.
But meanwhile, all those who have had one thing or the other to do with those cases, like the nurses, the doctors, the family relations, and all that, that have had something to do with those people that were suspected to have Lassa, all those people are that 58 that the director of public health in the ministry said about, that we are keeping those people under surveillance, watching them, giving them thermometer to check their temperature. In case their temperature goes up, we will intervene and all that. So that's what is going on now. Not that all those 58 cases have suspected it. They are normal, they are healthy, they are walking around. Just that, please always check your temperature and get back to us if you notice anything that is abnormal, because they have come in contact with suspected cases of Lassa.
Okay.
That's one. Then the Lassa fever, when somebody contracts the organism, the germs causing Lassa fever, within 3 days to 21 days is when the symptoms show. 3 days to 21 days.
Wow.
The more virulent one, the one that will likely kill the person, shows up very quickly.
Okay.
So if within 3 days of contacting the virus, you start manifesting symptoms, that one is a more serious one. But it takes as long as 21 days to even manifest symptoms.
Okay.
So when these symptoms show, the symptoms show just like the regular symptom of your usual malaria. The usual malaria that people have: body pains, weakness, pain, fever, headache, nausea, that's feeling like vomiting and actually vomiting. Those are symptoms that
How about bleeding?
you see. Bleeding are later stages.
Okay.
Later stages. Bleeding from the ear, bleeding in the eye, bleeding from the mouth, bleeding in the anus, and for women, bleeding through the vagina. They are all later symptoms. At that point, when the whole hematologic system of the individual has been damaged, so there is no control. Blood is just flowing from every opening in the person's body.
Okay.
That is the later stage. But somebody can actually have Lassa fever and die of Lassa fever without even getting to that stage. Or those symptoms may actually show, those other symptoms may show without this one showing. Doesn't mean that it's only those who have who bleed from mouth or nose that have Lassa fever.
Okay.
And so we say that any case of high fever that you have treated for malaria and with the appropriate drug for malaria, and the person did not respond to that treatment, doesn't get better, please consider that case as a possible case for Lassa fever and send the person for investigation. Not that any case that you treat for malaria and it doesn't go, that means it's Lassa fever. No. But once you have treated the regular malaria and then this person is not getting better, temperature is still high, 39, 38, 30, 40, and so on, then send the person to the appropriate place where the person can be attended to promptly.
Okay, like the coronavirus, we know it's communicable. Is Lassa fever also? Is it communicable? I mean,
yes, Lassa fever is very, very contagious. Very, very contagious. We are talking about the one that is transmitted by rodents.
Okay, doctor, let's take a break now. When we get back, we can we can continue from here, so that viewers, if you're out there and you just tune into the program, not to worry, we'll continue after the break. But you can always log on to YouTube, The Mirror with Beauty Benjamin, to get the beginning of this episode and every other episode that we've done on this program. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you right back. Yes, you're welcome back to the show, and this is The Mirror with Beauty Benjamin. If you're just tuning into the program, don't worry, you can always get this episode and others on our page, The Mirror with Beauty Benjamin on YouTube. Don't forget to like the page and subscribe for whatever episode you want to watch. And still with me today talking is Dr. Josiah, consultant pediatrician, overseas hospital Modemaya, and we're talking on Lassa fever. Everything has to do with Lassa fever. Doctor, we are welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's good to know you're still here. Now we're talking about it's Lassa fever is communicable, so that people really know what they expect, or what they need to know.
Lassa fever is very communicable, very contagious, can be spread from one person to the other. Earlier on, we had talked about the main source, which is from the carrier organism, the rat, to the human being. That is the main source. But it can also be transmitted from person to person. Okay. That is why we say that it is very contagious. And it can be transmitted through body fluids from one person to the other. The catarrh, the sneezing, the cough, the urine, the stool, the semen, the vaginal secretion. So sexually it can be transmitted, and from any source that the body fluid of one person gets into the other person through the blood. Anything that so it's transmitted through those means. And so we caution everybody that is attending, especially the healthcare workers, that are the ones that are most at risk. Because when patients come, you attend to the patients, you care for the patients and all that. You are exposing yourself also. Because the patient can sneeze into your face, and then while trying to clean up the patient because the patient messed up the place, or even when you are collecting blood sample for investigations and all that, you can be exposed to the infection.
Okay. So now let's look at what are the preventive measures for this Lassa fever. Should be can prevent it.
Okay, there are several levels of prevention that we can deploy in trying to control Lassa fever. First is the public health education, which is part of what we are doing right now, telling people, creating awareness about the reality of Lassa fever. And so when you tell people about that, to be cautious about it, to avoid the primary source, the primary carrier. Remember, those rats are not ill. They carry the virus in themselves, but they themselves are not ill.
That's my fear.
They are just carriers. They are just carriers. So we educate people about how to keep their environment clean. Okay. And then good public health hygiene for everybody. Don't keep refuse around your house. Remove it, move it out, and dispose it correctly. And then use things to cover let your waste bins be covered, so that rats will not feast on it. And then also remove leftover food particles around your house, or in your house, so that rats will not follow and get to your house. So that's one level. Another level is for you to take care of if somebody else has the disease condition or a suspected case. How you, who is taking care of the person, should prevent yourself from getting contaminated by the same virus, such as getting people to wear face mask, nose mask, especially nose mask. Wear goggle to cover your eye, because it can also, if the blood or the cough or whatever thing the person splashes into your eye, it can also be contracted through that means. So you cover your eyes, you cover your mouth, your nostrils, so that you don't breathe it in. And as much as possible, wear gloves, so that it doesn't also pass directly through your skin into your, maybe spillage of those contents through your skin, on your skin, and now it's absorbed into your skin to cause infection. You avoid those things. So wear protective gears, what we call personal protective covers or equipment. We use it as much as possible to prevent ourselves from getting it. And another means of prevention is when you see a case. I said earlier on that any case of fever, body pains, weakness, nausea, vomiting, and all that, even if it has not gotten to the level where the person starts bleeding from nose and everywhere, please take the person to hospital. And any case that looks like malaria that you have treated for complete dose of malaria and the person is still feeling sick or still having high temperature, I should go to hospital. Don't think that, okay, oh no, this one is no longer malaria, it is now typhoid. That's not correct. Take the person to a proper hospital where the person can be taken good care of. What they will examine the person further, where investigations can be done, and then the person can be treated. So early presentation in the hospital provides an opportunity for the person to be treated and cured actually. And then we treat the person. If the person presents early, the person can be treated. There's a drug called ribavirin, which is an antiviral drug that actually cures Lassa fever if it is commenced early. If it is commenced early, the person can be completely treated of Lassa fever. So there's drug treatment for Lassa fever. It's not like it is not there.
Okay.
So we do that. And then if the person now dies, if a person that has Lassa fever dies, we should practice safe burial rites and practices, such as, it's not the one that in some villages now they say that if it is a man that is the woman that killed it, you should drink the water they wash from the man's body to prove that it's not the one that killed the husband, and so on and so forth. And so we should not, that is not when people will throw themselves upon their brother. Oh, you want to leave me? Are you leaving me? And all those stuff. So we should practice those safe and burial rites so that there is no contamination between that individual who dies of the disease condition and those who he left behind.
Okay.
Yes.
Now something just came into my mind now before I want to show now. Now the school is in session. Yes. From what you said earlier, you said between 3 to 21 days.
Yes.
Now, if a child, has these symptoms, whatever, since it starts from 3 to 21 days, and is in the midst of others, we they know. I mean, how do such?
Yeah, it's not possible to know except if there's the symptoms start showing symptoms of like fever, cough and catarrh, body pains, weakness, bone pains, and all joint pains. Okay. If they start experiencing that, then the parent should take the child to hospital.
Okay.
At that point, the child is contagious. It can spread it to every other person in the class.
Okay. Now, as usually, on the show, we always like to have a guest, counsel, give advice to the public. Everybody is watching the show, and they want to know what your advice, what your counsel to everybody, and what to the government. It's not a one-person thing. This concerns everybody, because if you affect this one, you affect the other. So it's not like it's one person, it's everybody. So what's your counsel advice to everybody?
Lassa fever is a public health issue, and then it's taken seriously across the world, not just in Africa, not just in Nigeria, even though it is a disease that is mainly restricted around Africa and around Nigeria particularly. But it can be spread to any part of the world. And then in Nigeria, we should practice better farming practices, such that we do not from time to time allow bushes to grow and then we'll go and cut the bushes, burn them. And so better farming techniques will help eliminate those rats. Use of rodenticides. And then we should keep our environment clean. That's most important. Keep rats far away from you. You do not have a means of knowing which rat is the multi-magnet rat or the mastomys natalensis that carries this virus. So treat every rat that you see as a potential carrier of the virus. And so keep rats free from your environment. Use rodent-proof containers to keep your foodstuff and your water and everything that you want to have. Even your refuse should also be kept in containers that can be covered. And the government is trying to do its own bit by sensitizing the environment and providing the personal protective equipment in hospitals so that they can use it. The health care workers will be able to use it to prevent spread of infection from one person to the other, and even from the patient to them, the healthcare workers, so that they can be alive to attend to the next patient. That is one. And then to provide the medication, I mentioned ribavirin, to make it available, and to activate and keep constantly running those centers where we keep treat infectious diseases such as the Ebola virus thing and all that. So that center should always be open so that such cases can always be there. And there's another thing that the River State government can do by providing a research laboratory. That same laboratory that is in Edo State, they can also have it in River State, so that we don't have to wait for too long for samples to be taken to Edo State and results coming back much later after the person has died, and people have had contact with that person over and over again, and we start doing damage control later.
Thank you so much. It was good having you on the show. Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
We're happy that you're always available for the mirror.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the good work. Thank you. Viewers, you've heard it all. You can be sure that the mirror is always there to bring you information. We don't just bring information, we profile solutions, how you can take care of yourself, how you can handle it all. All the big grandma doctor have said now so far is that Moke will try to take care of our dirty, push dirty away, clean your place, try to maintain cleanliness, make your kitchen clean, your environment clean. This rat then go run, because if they come, they no see food to eat, they will run. Ensure that you dispose your dustbin every night as you finish. Every remnant of food, take it out. And be watchful, watch your children, watch yourself. Any symptoms so far, rush to the hospital. The doctors are always there. Thank you so much for being with us on the show. Same station, same time next week. We're always there. And for your feedback, your contributions, your comments, whatever you have, just send an SMS to the number scrolling on your screen. Thank you. We love you. I will say Happy New Year once again. This is Beauty Benjamin signing out for The Mirror with Beauty Benjamin.